So welcome everybody. I'm super glad to be here. My name's Maestra Lucia Elena Braganca. I am here in the Mid-Realm, and I did want to say again, thank you to both Chancellor Oswin and the Middle Kingdom Online University for hosting this. I think it's amazing and wonderful that they've been able to keep up and doing so much to keep us connected during the pandemic. Now, this class is pulling the teeth out of stage fright. This is one I teach quite often. It's one of my favorite classes because it helps people have a better time doing things they want to in the SCA. Oh, and was that Sophie? Haha! Yay! Okay, this lovely bright orange person that has just shown up. This is my sister, Sophia.
I'm a whole 1 minute late. I'm really sorry.
That's okay.
Two computers died on me already. So.
Oh no! Yikes! This is my dearly beloved actual biological sister, Baroness Sophia the Orange, tuning in from Atlantia, where she is one of the major tech people helping Atlantia University stay online, and she helps me run my classes. So I'm very thankful to have her here. Now, as I said, stage fright is one of my favorite, pulling the teeth out of stage fright is one of my favorite classes to teach because it affects just about everybody. I usually frame it as a performing arts class because that's usually where most of the people that we deal with in the SCA are noticing that they have stage fright or noticing they have troubles, but it applies just about anywhere. I've had some wonderful people who have recently been elevated to Baron and Baroness as their local group show up and say, you know, I want to do my job as Baron and Baroness better, so I'm here to learn. So what I usually like to do when we're running the class in person is I like to find out a bit about what people in the session want and what your experience has been. So I'd like to ask each of you that are here to, and I'll have Sophie do the unmute as we go around. I'd like to ask each of you just to introduce yourself briefly, tell me your name, what kingdom you're from, and what your experience with stage fright has been.
I do think everybody needs to unmute themselves.
Oh, okay. Well,
we're in a self-empowered moment.
I'm going to suggest we go alphabetically, and I'd like to ask Adelicia to go first, if you're okay with that.
Hi, I'm Adelicia. Midlands. I want to teach classes and I'm kind of terrified, so I thought this might help.
Yes, absolutely.
She's in the right place. I think it will.
I can help with that. Okay, then I think Antonio de Sforza, who is looking ever so elegant in that outfit. I think
that is a really great outfit.
Yes.
Thank you so very much.
I am totally jealous.
I did not make any of it. It was all one of my good friends out here in Arizona. But ciao everyone. I'm Antonio de Sforza, mundanely known as Michael Arcaro. I'm from the Kingdom of Atenvelt, Barony of Twin Moons. Stumbled upon this and have been an ethereal foreign exchange student ever since. And I'm a performer in my mundane life. And I'm always looking for more tips and tricks to battle stage fright. I don't experience it too much myself anymore, but always getting new techniques to prepare as an actor and as a performer is always awesome.
Fantastic. Welcome, and I hope we've got some good stuff for you. And there will be some opportunities if you've got tips and tricks to share with us. I'm on the same page. I collect good information from everyone.
Yeah.
I think that makes Artemisia next.
Hello, I'm Artemisia Volterra. I'm in the Mid-Realm. I just wanted to come to see what all you were teaching. I have been more recently, well, when we weren't doing this, in charge of the youth for the kingdom. So I wanted to try to get more information on how, if I do have to go up in front of a court or anything like that, it would make it a little easier.
Good. We'll work on that.
A little easier. Absolutely. Hmm.
Okay, and I think our fourth participant would be Nicholas Hunter.
He posted in the chat that he has social anxiety, the desire to participate is there, but really shy.
Understood. Well, thank
Totally
you,
get it.
Nicholas. Allow me to share. I also deal with anxiety on a daily basis. My beloved sister here, I don't think has ever had an anxious day in her life, so we
Not
cover
really.
the spectrum, and we're definitely here to help. And yes, as a little more background, I was the person that in high school when our English class did debates, I was the one that fainted because I was that nervous about being in front of people. So I've had that experience of standing there and having the entire world crawl in and go gray, and the pounding in the ears of I can't hear anything but my own blood. And I'm not sure how I ended up in the hallway, but the teacher was very supportive and got me a glass of water. And I am proof you can find ways to manage and get beyond it. And I certainly hope that this will be a couple steps in that journey. So thank you, Nicholas, for joining us. I'm glad you're here. Okay, so Sophie, do you have my handout, my outline?
I sure do. I have our handout.
Our handout. Sorry, that's correct. Because usually in person, I teach this class on my own because Sophie's off teaching Commedia stuff. But we worked this out together, and honestly, half of it is stage fright, half of it is live Commedia, because two sisters. What else are you gonna do? And I love.
Well,
you
we
both.
provide, I think, excellent balance for the like whole understanding of how stage fright affects a person, because I've never had to deal with it as an individual, because I just, Kathy got Lucia got all that stuff in the handing out of genes whenever that was happening. But I direct a lot. I direct Commedia and I direct improv, and I'm directing all sorts of stuff. And online, it heightens everything when people are nervous. So finding ways to help folks is, pretty much my favorite thing to do. So I have the screen shared to show the document, and I'm hoping you can see that. Can somebody nod and tell me?
I
we
can see it. I
Okay.
think that means everybody else can.
Yep.
Yay.
Okay. So that's swell that people can see our beautiful handout. We definitely did invest a lot of time in this. So also,
I believe this
wanted to say
is
that.
downloadable. Yes.
Yes, let me find the link for that. I'm sure by the end I can get the link into the chat box and we can all do that. I do want to also give some credit to our buddy, Walt Whistle, if you guys remember him from the Bardic world at all. He's all over the place, and he's very similar to me in that he didn't really have anxiety get in the way a lot, but he definitely has found times when it affects him and ways to get through it. So it's not a matter of erasing it from your life. It's a matter of finding ways to get through it and manage it. And so Walt has helped us out a lot. And he's a really, really, really good performer. And you never would have thought that he had a day of stage fright in his life. But, he's there. He's got it. So I've got a bunch of beautiful text in front of you. But we also can do the whiteboard if you would like.
Let me interject real quick. If you do put it in the link in the chat, I will link it to the live feed on the RUM community site, so it's there attached to the video.
Super duper. I can do that. Or I mean, you can do that. Thank you, Oswin.
Collectively, team.
Thank you, Oswin. Team will make that happen.
Team.
All right, so Lucia, would you like to do the whiteboard part first, or do you want to dive into?
Not yet.
Not yet.
We're not quite there yet.
Okay, no problem.
That's okay. That's okay.
Go ahead.
So what is stage fright? Stage fright is the label we put on a vast number of different personalized reactions to stress. Generally stress in some sort of performance situation, or where we have to be the center of attention, the focus of attention. Generally, we think about this in performance situations where someone's going out on stage or performing or in front of a camera like this. But sometimes it applies in far more mundane situations, like going and talking to your boss about a situation or bringing up a conflict with another person. And a lot of the reactions that we get are biological. You'll notice that your breath may become shallower. Very often we get a chilled feeling or a liquid feeling in our joints, like we're going to fall down. Or, like I said, in my high school experience, I kind of blacked out the eyes and the ears, so I wasn't having any further input. We also have the butterflies in the stomach situation, and the brain weasels may jump in and start telling us awful things about ourselves and undermining our self-confidence. Where does it come from? It's the same as just about any other phobia. Now, I do want to differentiate. There is a major difference between fearing things that will actually kill and hurt you and the things that aren't going to kill or hurt you. So you may have a fear of spiders because they're icky and creepy. That's kind of a phobia. But if you have a fear of spiders because you've been bitten by one once and it hurt a lot and you got very sick and it nearly killed you, this is a real fear. This is where your lizard brain in the back of your head is trying to keep you alive, and it's doing a very good job of it. The lizard brain is the part of our brain that controls the fight or flight reflex, the part that says, is this situation safe? Am I going to die? If I'm going to die, I want to get out of this situation as quickly as possible. Hello, cutie pie. And so that feeling of your blood rushing to other parts of your body, that's really your body trying to feed your muscles as much oxygen and blood as they can so you can run away, because that may be the safest thing. Or to wind up and be prepared to hit back if something is going to attack you. Now, I would like to think that in most situations, especially SCA situations, the audience is not going to attack you. In most business situations, your boss is not going to attack you. But convincing the lizard brain is a little tricky because it's been working for many, many, many thousands of years to keep the human race alive. And so far, it's doing a pretty good thing. Another source of this kind of fear is bad experiences. If you've been on stage and had a very bad reaction where the audience turned on you, you probably don't want to repeat that again. If you have gone to try and have a difficult conversation with a coworker and it has gone badly, especially if some of the reason you feel it's gone badly is because suddenly your brain blanked out because your feet want to get you out of there, even though the rest of your brain is telling you stay here and have this conversation. That is programmed pretty deeply into our brain patterns, and the brain does not want to be in that situation again. So there is some training of, I've been through this before. I don't want to do this again. This is where the big brain in front, not the lizard brain, but the big brain in front has to take over. Bearing your soul, especially in performances, and absolutely in bardic situations, in the bardic arts, where a lot of times we are presenting our own stuff. We are bearing our own soul. This is a very scary, courageous thing that people might not get it. People might not even like it. So just the risk that we're taking in presenting this is kind of dangerous. And what I tell people in bardic situations is this is the nature of the game. We offer this as a gift to our audience. We are hoping that they're going to like it. We're hoping that they're going to love it, at the least that they're not going to damage it, that they're not going to pound it into the anvil. And that's a risk that we have to take. So part of it is making the deliberate decision of, am I going to try this? Am I willing? Am I going to cope? And the good news is most of these are not fatal. Thing number 4, misreading excitement. Sometimes the butterflies in your stomach are excitement, not not panic. So the butterflies aren't always bad news. And one of my friends, Master Owen Allen up in the great kingdom of Northshield, has often said, use those butterflies to your advantage. And then the last one, and I'm sure our friend Nicholas can speak for this as well, or relate. I'm not going to make you speak. Not going to make you speak. Some of it is plain old shyness. The shyness may come from somewhere, or it may simply be part of who you are, and that's okay. So what we're going to do today is hopefully look at a lot of the reactions to things that actually happen, and a bunch of tips on how to get beyond those. So these are tools that you can use, knowing that these are things that are going to happen. These are things that could happen. You will be prepared. Okay, so this is where I ask Sophie to pull up the whiteboard, and we have an interactive activity. So you can use the chat room for this. You can use the chat function. I think.
Just give me a sec. I'll be right there.
Okay. Again,
Just a
Sophie,
sec.
my technical wizard. Yay.
I'm all on it. Whiteboard.
Yay.
There we go.
Awesome.
Are you seeing it?
If any of you are planning on teaching for RUM or other online universities, I highly recommend having someone to co-teach with you to do these things, because it makes it so much easier. So what I usually do when this is a live class situation is I have a big board and I give everybody little sticky notes. I live for my sticky notes. And I ask everybody to just think about your own experience. What are you afraid of actually happening? Because one of the things that we found is it's one thing to have this generalized fear of something's going to go wrong. But if we can pin it down to what we think is actually going to go wrong, it's not just things are going to go bad. Well, what does that mean? What is bad? Is bad that people are going to throw tomatoes? Then we can address that specific thing. So what I'd like everybody to do is think in your own head, right on your imaginary sticky notes, what do you think might actually happen? What's the bad thing that we're worried about? And share it with us. I think sharing via the chat is going to be the most efficient, because then my wonderful sister Sophia can capture those and put them up on our whiteboard. And then what we're going to do is a sorting activity to pull these together in trends. So I'll go ahead and open the floor. And oh my God, Sophie's being so cute with the stickers. And I'd like you to keep the individual thoughts separate. I generally say put one thought on a sticky note. So if I'm afraid about forgetting the words, that's when I would put up on a sticky note. And if I'm afraid of fainting, I'd put that on a second sticky note, and we'd put that in different spots. So we'll give you about a minute or two to ponder this and type into your chat.
Okay. Okay. I hope everybody's seeing. Oh, there it is. Great. Thank you, Nicholas. I got the first one up there.
Ooh, and we've got Oswin in here too. Yay.
Woo, Oswin.
By the way, we love Oswin, if you haven't noticed.
Big Oswin fans here in the Coutinho household. All right. All right, let's see. I'm going to start typing them in here. Okay.
Oh, and this one that Oswin posted is really good. Ooh, I like that one from Alicia too. This is good material.
I've been that person that was too helpful. That's another class. How to keep your mouth shut. Okay, taking the oh, that's a good one.
Good, good.
That is a really good one, Nicholas.
That's a big one. That
The
is a big
wrong
one.
thing.
Okay, and
They laughed
Sophie,
at my desk.
I'm going to ask you to put up my two because I always use them:
Mhm.
the forgetting the
Mhm.
words and fainting.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the know-it-all. And you know, I encounter the know-it-all more in classes than I do in stage performance. So that's really an interesting one, an interesting spot. And I do have actually I have another class that I teach on how to design a class out of the stuff that you already know, based on a lot of stuff
Good one.
that I did for Girl Scouts. I was a manager of volunteers for almost 10 years, worked in adult development. And one of the sections that we did in our Train the Trainer class was how to handle the difficult class participants. But that's another class entirely. And Alicia, if you can private message me your email address, we can totally geek out about this. Totally geek out about it. Okay, so it looks like we've got a couple of good pieces to use here. Now, when I'm doing this in a live class situation in real time, we actually move all of the sticky notes around. But with the blessings of technology, I'm going to have Sophie move things around, and we're gonna identify some trends. I do want to say I'm really impressed by the two here, the silence of the audience and the audience reactions that don't match. So I'd like those to be together, like over here on one side, because that's and you know, I have to say I'm kind of impressed. This is one of the things that we haven't gotten a lot in the classes that I've taught. So I'm really happy to see this, and I may have to like borrow this and work this into the class line again. Okay, I'm gonna say the someone who is too helpful and the know-it-all definitely go together. So they're kind of in the same column as the silence by the audience, but it's definitely separated. So same theme but different issue. Saying the wrong thing, I think that, okay, not remembering what I was planning to say and forgetting the words, definitely going to put those together. These are two of the very most common, and that's one of the reasons that I generally start with forgetting the words, because most of the time when I teach the class, at least half of the people have put that as one of their chief concerns. Fainting and blanking out, gonna put those together in, I'd say kind of below the forgetting the words. It's also like the silence by the audience and the too helpful. These are things we can definitely call biological reactions. And the fear of being mocked, this is also a critical importance thing. And Nicholas, thank you so much for bringing this one up. Because it kind of bridges a couple of things, a couple of areas. And it also brings up the idea that it's not just when we're on stage. One of the fears is that this is going to come back to haunt us for the rest of our lives. No, I like it back up there with the saying the wrong thing. Let's keep that.
Oh, are they near
front
each
and
other?
center. Yeah,
They're related. They're cousins.
They're related. They're kind of related. They're cousins. They're cousins. They're not as close as the other two.
Okay.
So
I wanted to mention something to you real
Yes, please.
quick. The blanking out was mine. because it's not so much like a physical reaction as forgetting everything I ever knew about being on stage.
Oh.
It's like all
Oh.
of a sudden there's nothing, and there's nothing. There's no you. There's no mom and dad. There's nothing.
It's just all gone. Okay. In that case, forgive me because I actually was reading that as blacking out, which is like
No.
fainting. But this is different.
Yeah.
But that's
Forgetting
that's also
everything.
important.
Forgetting
So
everything.
I'd say move that one up to the somewhere between the not remembering what I was planning to say and saying the wrong thing. Up, little higher, little higher, little higher. Keep going. See, I just love telling my sister what to do. That's good there.
All right, that's good. All right, great. Now, do you have titles for these categories?
Yes,
All
I
right,
do. Yes, I
super.
do. And you know what? I don't know that we can see the whiteboard and the handout list at the same time.
No, I can't share those two
But I'm gonna
things
fake it.
simultaneously.
I'm gonna fake it because I think however it was that we worded it on the handout is gonna be pretty consistent. We've done this enough times.
You can somehow
I'm
get them both on your screen at the same time, Sophia, then it will work. But don't spend a lot of time on it.
Yeah, you know what?
Yeah.
Don't worry about it too much. I'm going Baja.
I'm just gonna like connect with my sister through the
Yes, we've got the brain waves going. Waves going. Okay,
we're gonna
so
do it the old-fashioned way.
the first one I want to jump into is fainting, and we're going to call that biological reactions.
Yes, that is in fact the first category on the handout. Well done.
Ta-da! Because honestly, it is the most common. And this will also include things like being short of breath, having an upset stomach. I have had the situation of needing to spend some very quality time in the restroom before and or after because I carry a lot. Sophie carries her stress in her neck muscles. I carry all of my stress in my intestines, and they will let me know. So to combat these, number one is to tell your lizard brain, I'm safe, I'm doing this deliberately, I'm doing this consciously. Thing number two is to practice, to find ways for your own self. What helps you if you find you're breathing too fast? One of the things I highly, highly recommend is, well, and you'll hear this again and again from other people, that simply taking some deep, calming breaths. Now, I will tell you, this is something that you want to practice before you are in the situation, because if you only start doing it when you are already starting to feel stressed and out of sorts and like you're ready to faint, it's not going to help nearly so much. What you want to do is essentially program your lizard brain that when you do a certain thing, you calm down, you relax. Sophie's husband, Manus, my dear beloved brother-in-law, who's very awesome, teaches classes about roses, but that's another session. He says, practice this in the cold state. So you don't practice the thing when you're already worried. You practice it when you're having a good day, when you're feeling confident in yourself, and you can remind your brain that, when I sit like this and do, I am calm, I am in control, and I am ready to tackle everything. So this is definitely something I recommend, and it helps in all phases of your life. Spending just a couple of minutes to center yourself and be calm never goes wrong. Never goes wrong. So let me see, Sophie, what else do we have in that biological set?
Breathing, always breathing. I think we have breathing in there 20 times. Breathing.
If you don't breathe, you die, and that's where the lizard brain needs to help and say, keep breathing.
There's also some really good things about taking care of your body, like limiting your caffeine and sugar intake, eating a sensible meal. I always know that I need a combination of protein and carbs, and don't rely on the Oreo cookies as much as I want to. Sensible food, not this like rush energy, because the rush energy of sugar and caffeine is it's going to betray you at some point. It's not long term. It's not long term energy.
Oh, likewise, I also want to say I make a lot of jokes about have a drink, but use it consciously. Know what your reactions are beforehand. Our
When you
very
say
dear
have a
friend-
drink, you mean like an adult beverage?
An adult beverage, right? Our dear friend, Mistress Drea, who is freaking amazing musician, says that after 1 Guinness, she plays really, really, really well. After 2 Guinness, she does not play well. So yes, the alcohol may help calm you down, but it may make other situations worse. So if you're gonna try this, I recommend try it in a low in a low stake situation first to see if it does really do what you want it to do, what you expect it to do. And more importantly, or actually the better strategy is plan to have a drink when you're done. Know that this is my goal. This is the finish line, is I will survive this, and then I can have a drink to soothe my soul. And you can do this with other things as well. I will have chocolate to soothe my soul. I will have the Oreos to soothe my soul.
So basically in the biology category, we have things like really take care of your body, get some sleep, be careful about that. Eat reliable food, not risky, crazy food, not something that might have a weird reaction in your body. Relax by doing the things that your body can remember. This is my relaxing stuff, like a short walk, shaking out your hands, jogging in place a little bit, moving in some way. And then there's the Superwoman pose, which is just taking your body and moving in a confident position that makes your body feel confident and ready to take on the world. So the Superwoman pose is one of my favorites that is still about taking care of your body. And then there's that last one, which is water. Hydrate, just water.
Mm-hmm.
And then find a good time to pee, like 15 minutes beforehand. So water and pee.
Yep.
And then we
take care of your instrument, which is your whole body.
So if you'd like to move on to the next category, I can tell you what's next in the handout. How about we talk about prep?
Prep. Okay. That is going to be pretty much the upper, let's see, are we left or right? The upper title corner of what
the one with all the stars and hearts.
The ones with all the stars and hearts. So saying the wrong thing, not remembering what I was planning to say, forgetting the words. I don't know if we have any instrumentalists here, but forgetting the tune, having my instrument flake out on me. Sophie and I both play stringed instruments, so having the strings break is always a worry. And the way we get around this is preparation. One of my favorite pieces of advice from the wonderful Master John Inchingham, the Fool of House Sans Nomen, who's been at this for decades. He says, don't practice until you get it right. Practice until you can't get it wrong anymore. So when he's practicing a new piece, when he's written a new piece, he will practice it over and over and over while he's washing the dishes, while he's folding laundry. His family members learn his songs pretty quickly because they're hearing them constantly. But it works. It works really well. And he said one of the very interesting things is that, especially for a new song, if he knows he's been practicing it a lot while washing dishes and he's performing it and he gets to a place where he's kind of forgetting where does the next bit go, he will actually make that motion with his hands, and that helps bring back what he was going to say. So yes, exactly as Sophie's doing. Sometimes that will help bring the thing back. Another piece that I love is Darian from up in Northshield. He's an wait a minute. Yeah, Darian's Northshield. It's his brother that's Callantyre. Darian
has a brother.
You don't know this? Oh my God.
I've been away for a long time.
We have stories.
I've been away
it's
for
okay.
too long.
It's okay. It's Callantyre. You're several kingdoms over.
That's another class anyways.
It's another class. One of the things that Darian has done that I think is absolutely brilliant he's got a piece that I've seen him do this, and he will pick out 4 people in the audience when he's singing this song, and he says, I need you to remember walking, I need you to remember standing, I need you to remember penguins, and I need you to remember dirt. Whatever the 4 words, these are the 4 words that start off those 4 verses. He's got the chorus down cold. Most of us have the chorus down cold, but picking out those 4 words, he's gone through and he knows that that is the trigger that will get him through the rest of the verse. He also brings in audience participation. Imagine being the person that, oh my God, Darian picked me out of the audience, and I am going to remember the word penguin for the rest of my life, simply because of this one very personal interaction. So he's reinforced right before he's done the piece. He's reinforced, these are the 4 words that I need to remember to get from the chorus through the first verse, then the second verse, then the third verse, then the fourth verse. So as you're working on your piece, if it's a song, do that with the verses. If it's a poetic piece, I know several of us are working on a reading of Beowulf coming up in November for the East Kingdom. So break it into sections that you can remember the sections and have the key word from each of those sections to get you started to the next piece, the next part, the next section. So dividing it into chunks is really, really helpful. Another thing that I have found works really well for me, I just said a lot of us have the chorus down pat. We have no problem with the chorus. You know why? Because we do the chorus over and over and over and over and over. In a regular song, in a typical song, I might only do the verse once, but I've got the chorus 5 or 6 times. So I am 5 or 6 times more practiced with the chorus than the verse for every one of those times. So as you're practicing, one of the things that's helped me is to start from the end. Practice the end. Normally when we practice starting from the beginning, we'll get the beginning really well and the middle's okay, and we tend to mess up at the end because we don't get that far. We'll start over at the beginning again, get through the middle, realize, oh no, I messed that up, I'm going to go back and start at the beginning. So I recommend start with the last line. Once you've gotten the last line really solid, add the line before, and then add the line before that, and then add the line before that. And you'll find that as long as you get started, you can finish strong because you've practiced the end more than you've practiced the beginning. It's really kind of weird playing brain games like this, but I have been pleasantly surprised at how much it works. Also, as you're prepping the material, finding different ways to process it in your brain, the more ways you can process it, the better. This is actually brain science that works in educational settings as well. So if you can listen to it, as well as look at it online, if you can write it out by hand, or if you prefer typing isn't quite as good because each of the letters is a different key, but it's the same motion. You're still pressing on the keyboard. If you sit and write the verses out again and again and again, you actually get the physical muscle memory of putting those motions together to mean those words. You slow down enough to focus on each individual word. And I've got notebooks where I've copied out the same song 5, 6, 7 times. And it really helps familiarizing myself with the material so much that I can't forget it any longer. So that's a lot on prep. Brief nod to the instrumentalists. Think about everything that could go wrong with your instrument and prepare for it. This is why when we go and do a Musica Subterranea gig, we've got lots of extra stuff in tote bags in the back room, in the cases that are sitting at the back of the stage. We've got extra rosin. I've got 2 bows in case something happens to the first one. Sometimes I'll bring things that I know Sophie can use as a cello stop because once in a while she's forgotten it. and you just can't play with the cello going across the school tile.
You can, but it doesn't sound good.
Yeah. A lot of notes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not good.
So okay, that's what I've got in my brain. Sophie, what
Okay.
else do we have on the list for preparation?
Couple of other things on the list when it comes to practicing and prepping yourself. I'm a big fan of recording yourself. And, you know, these little guys are beautiful cell phones that we can't live without anymore. So many cell phones have a capability of recording a little video. It doesn't have to be about you being beautiful and perfect in costume, but if you look at yourself doing it, it's a whole nother world. And so even though it can be kind of painful to look at yourself and see you in all of your normal average glory, it's so good for getting better at your performance, because then you can really pick out the things that matter to you and say, you know, I don't really care that my hair is flying everywhere when I'm looking in these directions. It works for the piece. So I highly recommend finding ways to record yourself. You don't have to keep them. Don't keep them. Just, you know, just watch them, learn from them, make your notes on your own. And then also start small with your audience and let it grow. Start with an audience that is small and safe, your buddies, maybe just your dog, and start small and let your audience grow with your confidence, because the folks who want you to succeed, being your buddies and your friends, and maybe your family members, depending on the family, the joy that you get in those moments will build your confidence, and then let it build by allowing your audience to grow and going into bigger and bigger venues. So if you're starting out with a new piece, I would not suggest bringing that to your Kingdom Arts competition. I'd say save your new stuff for a late night Bardic Circle. Anything online going on nowadays is good, because we're all like just jumping in and sharing with each other in like gajillions of Bardic Circles. So start out with your new stuff in small, easy venues, and then let it grow, and it will grow. Trust that it will. So those are the two big things I want to bring in from the handout. And I think we could move on to psychology.
Psychology, yes. Okay. I
Crazy
think
people.
I want to say that the three up above prep, the blanking out, saying the wrong thing, and fear of being mocked, I would classify this as psychology. Now, one thing I do want to say about the SCA being different from the rest of the world, generally in the SCA, people want you to succeed. I love going to the performing arts opportunities at Penzic, the performing arts pavilion, performing arts tent, the amphitheater, and honestly, just meandering around. There are a lot of people that just perform for the love of performing, and they plop themselves down wherever they are and start playing or singing or doing whatever. In general, people come to the SCA because they want to have a good time. They want to be entertained. They want you to succeed, because then we have a good time. Now I will kind of bridge over here a little bit to someone who is too helpful and the know-it-all, because we do get a lot of that in the SCA as well. Some of that is wanting to participate, wanting to have the good comeback. Waldorf and Statler and Waldorf.
Statler and Waldorf.
The two guys from the Muppet Show.
They're very inspiring. Very inspiring.
I love Fozzie, and I always was so mad at Statler and Waldorf for giving him such a hard time. But they did ask the existential question, why do we still come here? Because at some level, Statler and Waldorf still wanted to be part of the show and still wanted to be entertained and have their thing. So I will also say, if you're in a new situation, it's okay to say, please, I don't want any feedback, or I don't want any, I don't want people singing along. This is a new piece. I want to make sure I get the tune right. Don't apologize. That's a big thing I bring up in my bardic circles, but you are the performer. You get to set the ground rules. You get to set the stage. Own that stage. When we say own that stage, be confident, take up all the space, and know that you have control over that domain. And that may include, if you decide this is just not working out, you can walk off. Take your performance with you. If the people are not appreciating you, you don't have to take it. You are not generally, at least in SCA situations, you are not compelled. You are not being paid to be there. In fact, most of us pay our admission and pay to be there for the full 2 weeks. Okay, so I'm sorry. I can tell this is a hot spot for me. This is a deep emotional connection. Seriously. I defend a lot of people to have their right to explore and try their thing, even if they know they're not perfect. That's fine. This is how we grow. So getting back to the regular psychology, fear of being mocked is a real thing. The good news is most people in the SCA are going to be more impressed simply by the fact that you have tried, you have done a thing. And I would say, surround yourself with supportive people who are going to encourage you. Saying the wrong thing, I have to admit, when this one came up, I'm not sure if it's saying the wrong thing as in I forgot the words, or saying the wrong thing as in I said something that's really out of place, or I tried to make a joke with the king and it fell flat. This is real, both sides. The forgetting the words, we've covered that in prep, but the having things go wrong kind of also matches up with the getting audience reactions that we didn't expect. The secret is this also goes under preparation, whether it's working with the individual that you're going to be talking with or performing with, or going through all the possible situations in your mind and having the script ready. If somebody says X, I'm going to reply Y. So again, kind of with the Statler and Waldorf, I'll go in expecting, is somebody going to try and be an Oswald? I don't know if I'm allowed to swear online. If someone's going to be a jerk, if someone's going to be a stick in the mud, wet blanket, and say, no, don't do that one. Okay, what am I going to say? The French have a beautiful term for this. It's called the wit of the staircase, which is if I've been in a situation, I didn't know what to say then, but I'm walking home, I'm walking up the stairs to my bedroom, and that's when I remember the perfect thing. So we take a couple of slings and arrows, but we learn from them. And you've got the whole rest of your life to figure out, if I were in that situation again, what would I say? And once you have it, you stick that in your pocket, you will be ready, and you will flip. You will be Fozzie flipping the tables on Statler and Waldorf, and you will be ready to slam it right back towards them. Yes, Sophie.
I got one thing to add about saying the wrong thing. And this is something that I've learned from being in this horrible, horrible place myself, and also sharing with some other folks who have been there, because we all felt inexplicable shame about that moment when in some time we had said something on stage that was genuinely offensive by mistake. And it had not been intentional, of course, but it was something that hit somebody else in the audience in a completely unintended way. And they had felt offended by it. And then something really terrible happened after that. Like at one point, I had done a performance in a class, and a woman stopped and screamed at me, and it just came from out of the blue so dramatically. I had no idea what to say, and I was just in shock. And I rarely have times when I have no words to say. So it was a very, very rare occasion, but it happened. And here's the teaching moment. It was a a conflict between individuals. I had said something and she was offended and she screamed at me. And then after the class ended, I went and found her and I asked her if we could please talk about it and see what we could sort out. So it became a conflict between two people we had to work out. But in the grand scheme of things, the consequences were not dire. Nobody actually got hurt. I mean, nobody actually got physically damaged. And the emotional damage that came from it was something that we could work out as individuals, as grown-ups. So knowing that there are ways to resolve your conflicts with a person if the worst possible thing happens. And something you said was just like a crazy out of the blue mistake and it hit somebody in a very, very wrong way. Um, then there are ways of dealing with it, like following up later and knowing that you can manage it as a grown up, working out your stuff with another grown up. Um, it can be hard work, and yet it's doable. And so, the show may have a blemish on it, but it's not like people are going to walk away and have terrible things happen to them. It's fixable. So when you worry about saying the wrong thing, my message is sometimes it will happen and it's fixable. You can manage it. It will be okay.
And I've said many times, don't apologize, but this is one of the few situations
yeah.
where I would highly recommend saying, you know what,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. And either that came out wrong or more likely I was wrong.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this afterwards.
Exactly.
And the show must go on.
Exactly.
But definitely sort things out and move on. One of the things that I love that our person in charge of the diversity, equity, and inclusion ministry has said is learn and do better.
Mhm.
So here we are. It's a learning moment. Take that dark gift, and grow with it. Yeah. So excellent. Thank you very much, Sophie. That's really critical stuff.
Yeah.
Now the blanking out, I think I'm going to suggest that if you're concerned about blanking out, the thing to do is prep, like we said, that whole section on preparing things and having a couple of keys to spark you remembering where you're supposed to go. But also, this is a great time to bring up one of Sophie's favorite things, improv. I recommend taking improv classes because, and as someone who has had stage fright, you can see the reactions. I was terrified of this. Sophie loved this, but we both got some of the same things out of it, which was stretching the muscles of what to say, what to get your mouth to say while your brain is still trying to figure out what's going on. So again, like I said, have a couple lines that you've got in the back of your pocket. Priscilla sometimes used to say, you know what? I got my tongue in front of my eye teeth and I can't see what I'm saying. Let me try again. And it's cute. It may or may not apply to that particular situation, but it's 3.5 seconds. And it's 3.5 seconds that my mouth can be doing something that my brain doesn't need to pay attention to. And for that 3.5 seconds, I get to think about, wait a minute, where was I going? And I may remember where I was going with it, or I may have to remember another thing I've got in my back pocket. And I might have to turn to my sister and say, you know what? I just totally blew my brain buffer. I've got to reboot. I'm passing it to you. And
teamwork is great for that. Teamwork is great for that when you have a group of people that you're performing with.
Right.
When you're on your own, it's a little different. But you're right in that having something in your back pocket. My favorite little mental 3x5 card is yes and. I will just say yes and to just sort of have words coming out of my mouth to give me a few seconds to breathe and reboot.
Mm-hmm.
So yes and agree with whatever is happening.
Yep.
and
then similarly,
but or nor.
Similarly, someone who is too helpful or the know-it-all, it depends on which situation you're in. I've got other stuff to discuss if it's a classroom situation, because some of these times, if it's a classroom situation, generally they're just so enthusiastic and they really, really want to share. And we have ways of redirecting that without shutting it down. But if it's a performance situation, generally this is someone being a putz. And you just got to shut them down gently without me becoming without me becoming the putz. And so I recommend doing the same improv kind of thing. Have a couple of lines in your back pocket. One of my favorites from Steve Martin, I think it was in Fantasia 2000, was "Camera back on me, camera back on me."
That was Fantasia 2000. It was beautiful.
It was a moment. And I think I may have seen Effenwalt point to someone in the audience and say, "I'm ready to go to your show. You just tell me when and where. But for now, this is my show. Hush." Or something even more Effenwaltly appropriate and humorous.
Hey, dear sister, just a time check real quick. We got 5 minutes left, and I really want to dig into that juicy one about not getting the intention, the reaction you intended.
Yes.
You do not need to be slavish about the time.
Oh, good. Okay.
But I agree with Sophie. I want to get to this juicy one, and man, this is juicy, because yes, we have this whole performance in our minds. We know what we want to give to the audience. We already have a suspicion of what we want to get back. And when they drop their half of the conversation, it can leave us feeling chilled, misunderstood, rejected. All the brain weasels jump out. One of the things that 1950s TV figured out pretty quickly is if somebody starts, most people will follow. This is why we have the applause track and the laugh track. So if you are in an SCA performance situation, bring your own laugh track. I am easily bribed and sometimes available. And I show up to all of my sister's shows. I show up to a lot of my sister's shows when I can. I am one of the best audience members because I know when to laugh. I know when to go, ooh, boo, evil person. And I know when to jump in with the Capitano. Capitano is the best. You know what? I'm forgetting the Capitano line.
It doesn't matter. You're there. And
we've been in pandemic so long, I can't remember the Capitano line.
It's okay. You'll remember it because you didn't prep for it. But the idea is having trusting people ready there.
Yes, bring people for moral support and tell them what you want the reaction to be. And like I said, I'm definitely one of them. If somebody says something I think is supposed to be funny, I will laugh. I will laugh loudly, and most of the crowd will come along with me. If I think you did something amazing, I'll start clapping, and the rest of the crowd will start clapping with me. If they don't, then you've got the jerks down in the someone too helpful know-it-all Waldorf and Statler, and that is something else that we deal with a different set of things. The other thing I would recommend is prepping in a different way. It's not the prep work in remembering the words and bringing extra strings in case they break. It's the prep work of reading the room. Figure out what the situation is. If you're going to be performing at a coronation, people are generally going to be in a coronation-y type mood. It's going to be celebratory. It's going to be yay rah SCA. We love the patriarchy, and there are songs and things to go with that. There might be some humor depending on the individuals, but not necessarily so. So pick your material to go with the mood that's already there. If you're in a concert situation and you get to pick your mood, you can set the stage, you can set the expectation and say, okay, this one is going to be really sad, so bring out your hankies, but I promise you we'll have a funny one afterwards. So that indicates to the audience, you'll want to be sad for this one. I give you permission to be sad. And then I give you permission to laugh and be funny. Sometimes we can play with those emotions. My friend Di and my friends, Di and Leoden, have a hilarious song called Chanson de toute la saison. It's in French. And it's in very bad French. And I know just enough French that when the first time I heard it, I thought, this sounds very sweet and romantic, but I think he just said your face is ugly and put the keys in my nose. This doesn't make sense. And when he got to the translation verse, that's exactly what it said. And we were all cracking up. It is a hilarious piece. It is fabulous. And the last line is, this song has another purpose to make the singer a lot of money. So we know exactly where his soul is on writing this piece. But that's my best my best recommendation for this is know the situation you're going into and select appropriate performance for that, but also seed the audience, bring compatriots, bring your fan club that knows the right reaction for the right time, and teach the rest of the audience how to appreciate your show. Sophie, you got anything to add on that
Yeah,
one?
I got one actually from my beloved Hamilton.
Ooh.
I watched something with Lin-Manuel Miranda discussing discussing the difference between English and American audiences watching the musical Hamilton, and he had an insight. There's a line where Burr sings about his girlfriend, where he says he's keeping her bed warm while her husband is away. And in American audiences, we're like, yeah, okay, that's normal, whatever, that happened.
Politician expected.
And the British audiences were horrified. There was like a there was a reaction in the audience he had not expected, and he came to learn that that was just, a cultural difference. And so I'm exploring this idea as I'm talking, and I want to say that I think that this could be the kind of thing where you just prepare to learn, prepare yourself for the fact that sometimes crazy, unpredictable stuff like this is going to happen. So you learn from it and be open to it. And again, make sure, nobody's going to die from this.
Yep.
This is performing arts, not surgical arts. So.
Yep. I can share. I actually had a similar situation years ago at Penzic. Went to a Bardic Circle at Callantyre, the big Callantyre populist tent. They have this enormous tent. You can fit like 36 people in it. And I've been doing Bardic Arts in the Mid-Realm for a long time, so I was super excited. Hey, here's an entire kingdom who sings. I didn't realize coming in that part of the tradition is Callantyre sings their songbook. They've got a tradition of about 20, maybe 30 very, very war battle songs, and everybody dies in them, except for the one where everybody's drinking. But it's the same 20 songs, and everybody sings these because everybody knows. And naive little me, I had a couple of friends that we'd been invited, so we came and we thought, okay, this seems to be like any other Bardic Circle, so I've got a piece, and my piece went well because it's death and glory and dying and not dying and a lot of dying. That was a surprise that it went well. But then someone else did a humorous piece, and it wasn't getting a real good response, and we noticed a lot of people went to the bar to refill their drinks during that song. So Sophie's exactly right. Understand the culture, understand you're going to put your foot in it a few times, but it will not kill you. No matter what your lizard brain tells you at the moment, it will not kill you. We take these as learning moments and we grow.
We grow a lot. A lot. So that actually points to one other piece on our handout here. That's just a good quote to remember. The master has failed more times than the beginner has even tried.
Yep.
So in improv, let me just tell you, we cheer on the failures. Go fail more, fail bigger, fail more often, keep failing. Yay! Because the more you fail, the more you learn and the more material you generate. So it's not about being perfect. It's not about getting it right immediately. It's not about being perfect out of the gate. It's about learning and growing and doing everything you can to just learn and be better and grow. And I like that one about the master has failed more times than the beginner has even tried. Keep going, keep going, keep going.
Similarly, I want to drop in a great philosophical bit from General Mara, Eirik's daughter, who used to be rapier general for the Middle Kingdom, but has now moved to somewhere in North Shield. We deeply miss her. But when I started back into fencing after a break of 20 years, it messed with my brain. And she said, every time you step out on that field, set your own victory conditions. You're not going to win every time. Our side is not going to win every time, but maybe you're going to get one really good riposte in there. And that means you had a good day. That means you won this situation. So when you're in this situation where the stage fright might come up, I want each one of you to this is part of your prep before you do it. Set your victory conditions. You may have it may be an awkward conversation with your boss, but if your victory condition is, I'm going to make sure the boss knows that this thing is an issue for me. You might not get it solved, but you have brought up the issue. That may be sufficient victory for that one. And forgive yourself for anything else that gets you to that one victory, victory condition. If you want to set 2 or 3 victory conditions, more power to you. I'd start with one. Okay, there's a lot of other pieces here on our handout, our worksheet. The good news is that you can download this because our Chancellor Oswin is fantastic and he put it in the place where it should go. Sophie, is there anything that you want to, well, okay, I'm being silly here because you've already literally highlighted. I was going to ask, is there anything that you want to highlight?
I was right there, man. I was there.
Sister brain.
Well, I was just highlighting the items that we had, mentioned already.
And time out for just a quick minute. Since we're getting very close to the end of the class, I would like to invite our participants. If anyone has any questions or anything specifically that we have not yet dealt with, please type it into the chat. We'll let Laura talk about her favorite highlights, and then we'll wrap up with any questions we haven't covered. So, Sophie, camera back on you.
Camera back on me. I'm going to point to number 27. Let go of perfection. Mistakes are okay. And that's just what I was saying before. You know, it does not have to be perfect out of the gate. And yes, perfection is a great goal. But like number 41 down there, make specific, realistic goals. Smart goals. Smart goals are
specific,
silly,
measurable,
and marketable, and artistic, and roundabout, and
relevant, timeline, achievable.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's the wrong SMART acronym. What was that again?
Specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timeline. It's okay. You were managing tech through that part of my class.
Yeah, there you go. All right. So yeah, there you have it. Make goals, because you know you can't. Or at least I don't think it's really realistic to try to achieve all of your performing arts goals in one moment, break it up into pieces. You know, like one specific thing you want to get done in this one specific thing you want to get done in this one specific thing you want to get done in the next one, and then keep doing it forever and ever and ever until you die, because anything that makes you a little bit afraid is going to help you grow. And so keep doing it over and over again, and you'll just keep growing and being awesome. And then you'll teach another class of your own on how to do stage fright. And then when Lucia and I are old ladies on a hill with a bunch of cats, we'll be like, oh, we remember them from that class 100 years ago. Look at how good they are. That's my goal. So yeah, I'm trying to see if we can see into the chat.
You know what? We totally skipped over the
Ooh,
entire
Zoom
section on
speaking.
cheating.
Cheating.
The
Okay, you
entire
talk
section.
about cheating for a second. I'm going to read what Artemisia put in the chat. You talk about cheating.
Cheating, being on stage makes you vulnerable to the audience because they're there, they are intense, their focus is on you. If it's too much to start with, you can put up literal physical barriers. Some people will speak from a podium. The mundane world of public speaking. You know what? I forgot to mention this at the beginning of the class. In phobia surveys, more people are afraid of public speaking than dying. I think it goes spiders, public speaking, dying, flying.
No, I'm pretty sure public speaking is above spiders. I'm pretty sure.
Okay. So,
yeah, spiders
so
is second.
Maybe thing number
it's
one.
It's number one. Yeah.
It's number one. So having a podium in front of you or having a book that like this that you can read from will actually give your lizard brain a little bit of reassurance that physically you are in less danger because you've got a shield. I am known in my kingdom for singing with a great big 6-foot spear. It has come up because I sing a lot of battle songs and it's appropriate, but it's also something literally for me to hang on to. Works kind of like a lightning rod, pulling in energy if you want to get into that energy stuff. But also, I've noticed there have been discussions on a lot of Bardic forums about, hey, when do people get heckled? Do you have problems with this? I have never had a problem being heckled whilst carrying a 6-foot spear on stage. It helps. Also, using other props, using other props can help. Practice with them so you don't fumble while you're trying to use the thing that's supposed to help you. Performing with a group is definitely a way to get that herd immunity, get shared space. If you don't feel comfortable performing solo, maybe you're okay performing in a group. And you might just find that there are 2 or 3 other people that don't really want to do this solo, but they're happy to join in a group because there's safety in numbers. If you're nervous about looking people in the eye, and this is something that we talk about in a lot of performing situations, that look people in the eye to make that connection. If that's scary, if that pings your anxiety, you'll be amazed at how much it looks almost identical to look at people's eyebrows or look at people's foreheads right over the top of their head. So anywhere from here to here is gonna look like I'm looking directly at you. And you can also make eye contact with somebody who's not there because the rest of the audience is going to be looking at you. They think you're looking at somebody, even if you're not. To borrow a trick from one of my favorite performers, one of our favorite performers, Mistress Marion Heatherdale.
Oh, yes, of course. Marion.
You'll notice at some times when she's getting herself set up on the stage, she'll be waving to people in the audience. She'll point to somebody and go, "Oh, hi." Sometimes there's not a person there, but it feels better to have that connection, to be working that with the audience, even if you're not working with someone specific. Use a pitch pipe to find the right note. Oh, go ahead.
No, keep going. I've got one thing I want to talk about Zoom.
Okay.
When you're done with the
use a
handout.
pitch pipe to find the right note. If you are a vocalist, I've got relative pitch. I will start pretty much anywhere and I can go through the whole song as long as I'm starting in a place that I know it's not going to go too high or too low. And there have been many times I've stopped and said, you know what? That's too high. Let me start over. Feel free to use that line. It's too high. I'm starting over. And generally, everybody in the audience that's been in that situation will nod and go, mm-hmm. So if you have a pitch pipe, or I know Tulari's group uses a recorder. They have an a cappella madrigals group. They use a recorder to find the note and make sure they're starting on the same note every time. And then finally, use lyrics or a cheat sheet and a light if needed. There are some bardic communities that will say, no, you have to be off book before you're going to perform in my circle. I say baloney. My circle, my rules, bring the book if it's going to help you. Work your way to getting off book makes a better performance. But if you need that book to get through it, then do it. Very often I'll have my book behind me on a chair, so I know it's there. The worst thing that happens is I have to turn around, look down, and see where I was in the book, and then I keep going. So I can leave the book there, but I still have it. I still have that reassurance. Okay, Sophie, I'm turning it back over to you.
Okay, so a lot of us are worried about Zoom, and it's hard to communicate a lot through Zoom or whatever other platform you're using. There's a bajillion of them out there. And I've got 3 tips for you to take home, and just take these and work with them as best you can. First of all, Zoom, and I'm going to say any other platforms, treat it like magic. It's magic. You can just believe it's magic. Like, it's a great big Gandalf crystal ball in between you and your people, whoever you're talking to, whoever your audience is, kids, adults, cats, whoever it is. You can consider it magic. It helps me to just relax and say, I don't care how the technology works. All I know is I'm here, and there's somebody else on the other side who's seeing a visual of me, and they're hearing my voice. And so it's magic in between there, here and there. And I imagine, what's life for them? Are they sitting in another dining room made into home office? Are they sitting on their sofa? Are they sitting on their bed? Are they in an actual office where they got to go into their office and they're trying to figure out something, how to use some stupid SharePoint site? And I've got to help them figure out what the little permission boxes are all about. So putting myself in their shoes, and then imagining what life is like for them, where they're at, what they're doing, what they're trying to do, and then just talking to them about how I can help them achieve their goal. Now, if they're a kid in a school and I'm a teacher, and they just have to get a grade in this class and get through this hellscape that is, nothing but online learning, without balance, without recess, without all the things they're normally part of, then it's a matter of getting them what they need as much as I can help them with. Now, 2 other little pieces that are crutches that will help you is focus on what do you really need to get across. When we have in-person classes, we can deviate, we can do all sorts of crazy things, but when you focus more, it helps a lot. Lucia and I have this huge long list of like 6,000 things on stage fright, and so helping us focus is that whiteboard exercise where we get from you, what do you need? And so we've asked you, what do you need? And then take all this bajillions of stuff that we can offer you and focus on what's going to help you the most. And then there's another piece that you can use in a lot of different ways. Ask for the feedback you're not getting from being in person. There are a whole bunch of cute little techie ways to do that. There's little poll options where you can put a little poll up. There's little, like, on Adobe Connect, there's a little game where you can do a rock, paper, scissors game on the platform. So there's little techie ways, but genuinely saying, okay, I'm going to take a breath now and ask you, how's that working for you? Are you getting what you need? Is there something I'm missing? I'd love to get some feedback from you guys, even if it's just, I'm tracking, I understand what you're saying, I will have to play with it and think about it for a while. Or some sort of conversation that allows you to get the feedback you're not getting from the times you're used to being in person, seeing somebody's body language and seeing their eyes drift off to something. So ask for the feedback you're not getting. And we are all in the same boat here. There's nobody on this planet that is not affected by COVID. So you just think about where they're at, try to imagine what they're like, and give them what you can, and then ask for feedback. So those are my little tips on Zoom. And yeah, trust me, I do this a lot, so I highly recommend.
I've got one more tip for
Ooh, cool.
For Zoom, because I don't do this professionally. Sophie's got oodles and oodles of experience. I am a hobbyist. I'm making this up as I go along. So like everything else, prep and practice. It has taken me a long time to learn to look at the camera, look right in the camera, and you can see my eyes here. I think most of us tend to drift towards the Sophie's got it. Most of us tend to drift towards the little boxes of the people, of the pictures, showing them on the Zoom, wherever it is on your screen that you've got it. And we can kind of tell, because this eye line versus this eye line is enough, we can see the difference. So one of the things that I highly recommend, and I am about to put little googly eyes on my camera to remind me to look at the camera. But I also have a screenshot function on my camera, and I've sat and I've practiced. Okay, what does it look like when I'm looking here, when I'm looking here, when I'm looking here? And I've essentially created my marks to know where am I going to be looking if I want to look like I'm interested in the people and what's going on. So and here is Marvin to demonstrate being right there in the and yes, the first couple of times it was very awkward. I'm still a little intimidated, and this is just a simple pile of plastic and electricity. But this is something that's very new for us. The lizard brain is going different, dangerous, it's gonna kill us. No, it's not really gonna kill us.
Not gonna kill you.
But it's gonna be awkward for a while, and the more we practice with it, the more the more familiar we'll get with it. I'm having much better conversations with my camera, even though I really, really want to be having conversations with people. I want to look you in the eyes, not in the lens. But we'll get through this. And so, like everything else, learn your marks and practice.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right, I'm thinking we should wrap up.
I think you're right.
But I think we could do a last call for questions, because you guys have juicy ones.
Yeah. And Artemisia, thank you so much for bringing that up. It's a juicy one.
All I can say is it's been truly insightful. I just decided to step back and just absorb everything. It's been awesome.
Oh, thank you, Antonio. Oh, we've got a minute or two. Do you have any like super tips we missed that you want to share?
Yeah, hard-won wisdom.
Not really, no. Like a lot of them are the breathing is the biggest one. That's normally how I reset my head, and just getting into the warm-up exercises. But that's mostly because I'm a mundane performer too, so I normally do that to get into my headspace.
Well, I'm really glad that you came, and thank you for giving us some additional perspective. I'm really glad to know that we haven't surprised the guy who's a pro, and we're all on the same page, because that's awesome.
Thank you, and thank you guys again for teaching the class.
Yay.
All right.
Thank you all for taking time to learn it. It does take time. So thank you. And hey, Oswin, we're big fans. Thank you.
Yay!
Yes, thank
Oswin.
you. So it looks like there's no more questions. So I'm going to end the meeting. It's going to kick you all off. Nothing personal. That's just the way it works.
Oh, the humanity.
Love you. Love you, Oswin.
This is on the Facebook page, on the Rum Community Facebook page. So you can look at it anytime you want there. It should be up on the YouTube site shortly. We finally got some help getting the backlog done. So thank you, Sophie. Thank you, Lucia. Big hugs. I'll see you sometime.
See you.
All right, bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.